I looked at my elbows and I said, oh my God, I'm ashy. I'd rather be with you. Anyway, sorry, welcome back to my channel. This is the Reddit mess. Okay, we had to, you guys were probably looking at my background like, girl, what is going on? My little knees just cannot take it, okay? I can't sit on that floor today. It's just not in the decks. It's not in the cards for me. So we move positions like Aaliyah. Yeah, you know what I'm about to say. Anyways, yeah. So welcome back to my channel. This is the Reddit mess, where I read a bunch of Reddit stories. I give a haha kiki moment. And yeah, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, always interact with me. Comment below. Let's go ahead and get into it. So the first subreddit is, am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for banning mother-in-law out of my house after she hung a picture of my husband's ex on the wall? So my husband's 30 and I, 31, have just bought our first house together. We're loving it and we're excited to decorate it together. Unfortunately, my husband travels a lot for work and we've already had new furniture orders arrive, but I couldn't do it all myself. My mother-in-law offered to help and I agreed. Yesterday, I got back from work at 8 and was shocked to see one one of the wall was full of framed pictures that mother-in-law put there. That is not the problem, because these pictures were from his childhood, graduation, birthdays, and then I saw the biggest framed picture of them all, and him and his ex on their wedding day. Oh my God. Context, mother-in-law adores my husband's ex. She brings her up all the time and reminisces about the past years with her. Not only that, but she includes her in events and holidays which cause issues between us. I lashed out at mother-in-law asking what the hell she put that picture on the wall for and how she thought it was appropriate to do these things. I told her to take it down in that instance, but she was defensive and said that this is part of Derek's life and you cannot erase it. Then went on about how many hours she spent working on the wall and how I should try to be a little bit appreciative. I lost my cool and flipped out on her. I took a share and removed the picture. She started arguing with me, asking what's wrong with me and calling me crazy. I told her to take the picture and leave, but she tried to say that it wasn't just the ex in the picture, but my husband as well. But I told her I'd throw it out if she won't leave. She left, but started texting stuff like, you're jealous, bitter, overbearing, controlling, etc. I responded telling her she disrespected me in my own home by what she did and proceeded to ban her from the house. She called my husband and forwarded a screenshot of the ban. He called me and we talked. He then said his mom ought to know better, but she didn't. And I was right to be angry, but banning her from the house was an overreaction, like a crazy overreaction. He tried to get me to call her and cancel the ban, but I refused. He then ranted about how unfair I was being to make such a decision when it's our house, not just mine. Conversation got nowhere, and I am now waiting for him to get home to talk. My in-laws are upset with me, saying I went overboard with this reaction and urged me to let mother-in-law back into the house and drop this whole thing like it never happened. Am I the asshole for banning after this? Is she the asshole here in this situation? Absolutely not, because she's right. It is disrespectful. That's basically a slap in the face. But then she said something where I'm like, wait, what? She says that she's been dealing with, her mother-in-law has acted this way in the past, where she keeps bringing up her husband's ex. She keeps trying to invite her to, different occasions. And as I read that, in my mind, I was like, why, if this has been something that's been a reoccurring issue in the past, why would you invite her over for assistance? I would rather call up my own mom or friends, someone else, anyone else besides her. She doesn't say that her husband had any kids with the ex, so I really don't see why the mother-in-law is, even interacting with her, but I get it. Sometimes you just become close, to exes, and sometimes the ex just becomes a part of that family. If that's the type of relationship the mother-in-law wants to have with the ex, then by all means, fine. But don't keep trying to force that in our life, especially when me and my husband, your son, we've gotten married, we've exchanged vows, I said I do, and now we're trying to start something fresh here. Stop trying to bring that energy around me. Now, I'm just gonna say this because reading this, honestly, this overwhelms me. Again, this is subjective. This is why it's the Reddit mess. Because this is where I just bring on my commentary. Y'all can let me know what y'all think in the comments. But I just have to say my piece and then I can be done with this. Sometimes love just is not enough. Love just is not enough. I can love you, but maybe from a distance. This whole relationship here, I would have to love that man from a distance. I don't want to be in a family where it's physically causing me stress. It's physically making me sick. I don't want to deal with that. This whole situation here, it would give me so much anxiety. It would give me so much stress to have the mother come over and think in my mind, is she going to bring up the ex today? Are we even going to have to go through this today? The utter disrespect for this lady to decorate this woman's house, her and her husband's house, and put up a damn picture of the ex-wife, and be like, what's your problem? No, you're crazy. You're bitter. You're jealous. What? I mean, your husband is in the picture. That lady is psycho. The bulbs in that lady's head is not all there. Clearly. And the fact that she's even going back and forth, like sometimes, this is what I'm trying to say, sometimes love is just not enough. Sometimes peace. That's where I have reached the point in my life. I just want peace. And so to be married to someone and to love them unconditionally, I physically would not be able to move forward in that relationship dealing with someone like her. And then it solidified my decision in my mind when the husband called her and said, you know what, you're overreacting. You're actually being crazy. Like, you took it too far. To ban my mother, this is how I'm thinking this is how I'm thinking that he's talking to her. Okay, I'm acting the scene. To ban my mother out of our house, it's not just your house, it's our house. You're acting crazy. Overly crazy. That's so excessive. Call my mom now, babe. Call her. Call her and tell her that you're taking off the ban. What? I know she's wrong. I know that what my mother is doing is wrong. Yeah, she took it too far, but you took it way too far. This man don't have a backbone. He folded. And the way that he is telling his wife to go and call her and to apologize. And then she's talking about her in-laws are upset with her. So now you just have a gang of people, basically, now you just have a bunch of people ganging up on you, telling you that you took it too far. I wouldn't be surprised if she's somewhere at home questioning her sanity. Like, damn, like, matter of fact, hell, she proved it right here by making this post. Like, she is questioning her sanity by even asking if she is the asshole. She's not. I really feel like you can't flourish. You can't flourish around certain type of people. Like, I don't see her really flourishing in this relationship, dealing with people that are making her out to be crazy. Making her out to be... No. That would have been the way to go if her husband would have been able to back her. Like, it's one thing if the family is acting crazy. It's another thing when your partner can't back you or support you on certain things that you decide to do when it comes down to the family. This is why sometimes love is just not enough. Again, let me know what y'all think in the comments. So the next subreddit is, am I the asshole? And the question is, am I the asshole for banning my mother-in-law from the house? So it's another person banning their mother-in-law. So let's see what they have to say. So I, male, 39, lost my wife 6 years ago. I have a 16-year-old son, Daniel, and I recently got engaged to my fiance for 2 years. Her mom and I aren't on good terms because of how she behaves. She's a controlling, self-centered, Dolly Parton wannabe. Not a Dolly Parton wannabe. I learned to ignore her crap, but she's been annoying Daniel and criticizing his personality regularly. He's a private kid and still hasn't gotten used to the whole family dynamic type of situation, but he's in therapy and he's doing just fine. She keeps diagnosing him left and right, calling him antisocial, autistic, and all this other crap. Fact is, Daniel is a shy, well-mannered kid, but people confuse that with being antisocial. Mother-in-law tried several times to force Daniel to open up by embarrassing him with personal questions on family dinners and test his personality type. I realized the effect her behavior had on Daniel, so I gave him the chance to no longer be in the same room as mother-in-law, and he appreciated this a lot. Mother-in-law didn't like the idea that Daniel kept his distance and no longer visits, and kept bitching about how spoiled he will become for her daughter to deal with. I told her to stop bringing it up, but she cried, "I'm just doing this for Danny." Last week, she visited unexpectedly, wanting to say hi to Daniel. After Daniel greeted her, he went into the bathroom and she went into the living room with my fiance. I was in my bedroom when Daniel came and said his journal was gone. We looked for it but didn't find it. My fiance, who was alone in the kitchen but didn't see it. I paused for a second to ask where mother-in-law was. My fiance said that she was in the living room, but I saw her coming down the stairs. I asked where she was. She said the bathroom. I saw her purse in hand, so I bluntly asked if she took Daniel's journal. She looked offended and called my fiance when I insisted to see inside her purse. She wanted to leave, but I didn't let her. Fiance told me to stop, but I insisted, and the journal was there. Mother-in-law tried to explain that she was only doing this just to get to know Daniel better. I blew up at her and berated her for stealing from my son and told her she's banned from my house for the stunt she pulled. She argued when she left. My fiance apologized for her, but said banning her from the house was over the top. A backlash, and father-in-law argued and hoped his daughter realized how abusive I am and called off the wedding for refusing to apologize to mother-in-law. Fiance said her family won't come to the wedding till I reconcile with her mom and cancel the ban. But I won't let my son be disrespected in his own home, and asked my fiance to understand. I'm refusing to reconcile, but I'm aware this could ruin my relationship with my in-laws, not just mother-in-law. And my fiance thinks I'm selfish to cause drama. Again, another prime example of sometimes love just is not enough. Sometimes you just got to take peace over love. No, I would definitely, as the husband, I would definitely have to take a step back and be like, you know what? I need to reevaluate this situation, because not only is it not involving just him, it's also involving his child. So he needs to be looking at his partner like, are you the best fit for me and my child? His child is uncomfortable. The mother-in-law went about this all wrong. She's over here forcing herself on someone that's still trying to get acclimated to the whole situation here. You're over here trying to do identity tests over dinner? Babe, I'm just trying to eat. I'm just trying to eat my food. I don't need you over here trying to diagnose me with your foolishness. Leave me alone. And it just seems like the mother-in-law, she doesn't know how to take no for an answer. Like, the vibe that I'm getting is the mother-in-law does not know how to read the room, and she's looking at it as I'm doing what's best for Danny. Like, I care about Danny. If you cared about Danny, then you would see that he is uncomfortable. And you doing what you're doing is making the child uncomfortable. And so, therefore, he has decided to distance himself away from you. And instead of giving him that time to, come to you, you keep pushing yourself in his life. And I feel as though the mother-in-law, she does that with a lot. That the vibe that I'm getting is she does that a lot, pushing herself into other people's lives, which makes me look at the fiance, this is outside looking in, as in, even though she says, yeah, what my mother-in-law did is wrong, a part of me questions the fiance's thought process. Like, do you really truly think that was wrong? Because ultimately she grew up with her, and I hate to say it, but the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. So this is someone that she grew up with. And the father is backing the mother. It's talking about, your future husband, he's abusive. So a part of me in my mind, I'm like, do you truly not understand the brevity of what your mother-in-law, of what your mother did? Because you're saying it's wrong, but you're saying that the ban in the house where your future stepson, who's uncomfortable, where his belongings just got stolen, is over the top. The ban is over the top. So a part of me looking at the fiance is thinking she doesn't understand the situation, or she really doesn't think that the situation is this big. Which ultimately, if I was the guy here in the situation looking at my future fiance, I would be questioning a whole bunch of stuff. Because not only I'm going to marry you, I have a child, and what if I want another child? Like, are you going to be acting like this? Like, acting like this lady? Because the lady's acting crazy. So, Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Last subreddit, and then I'm closing out. So the last subreddit is, am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for walking out with my girls when my mother-in-law excluded them from the family photo album? I'm 36, female, mother of 2 girls, 9 and 5. I met my now fiance, 38, 2.5 years ago. He's a good man, treats my girls well, and loves them. Future mother-in-law is a generous lady, truth be told. His family are respectful and helpful. We visit them a lot. After we got engaged, I pretty much considered this my extended family. However, my mother-in-law tends to do things that either intentionally or unintentionally hurt my feelings. For example, when there's a family dinner at a restaurant, we're not invited. On Christmas, my girls didn't receive anything from her, while other kids in the family got gifts and cards. Also, the kids in the family get a trip once a month, but my girls never participate. Mother-in-law excuses were, I forgot. This week, my future mother-in-law was doing family photo album and was gathering family pictures from everyone. Sister-in-law and her kids, brother-in-law and his kids, and so on. She called and asked if I could send her some pictures. I thought it was nice of her. I sent them pretty much after my call with her ended. We were invited to her house. The entire family was there to look at the photo album because it was complete. We took turns to look at it, and then it was mine and my girls, and I was stunned. Turned out she picked the pictures that just had me and her son, not my girls. Although we took a ton of pictures, my girls were excited wanting to see the album and then asked why their pictures weren't there. I didn't even want to think about how they feel. I was caught off guard, otherwise I wouldn't have let them look at the album. I asked my mother-in-law why she excluded my girls, and she didn't even reply, she just ignored me. My fiance stared at me. I felt awful. I got up, took my girls, and walked out immediately. Everyone was confused. My fiance followed us, and then we left. At home, he told me that I really shouldn't have walked out before dinner and should have just ignored this whole thing because who cares about a stupid photo album? I told him it's a symbol of family. The girls felt left out when all the kids' pictures were there except for the girls, although I sent her pictures of 4 of us as a family. He said his mom didn't mean it and it promised that this will change once we got married and said he'll get everyone in line, so I shouldn't even consider this a problem. And that my girls are the light of his life and that that's the only thing that matters, and that I was overreacting over a photo album. Mother-in-law called and was upset, saying me walking out like that was disrespectful to the entire family. When I told her about what she did, she bluntly said, I don't want to lie to people. Those girls don't relate to me in any way. I'm only shaking my head because I figured that's why she was doing it. Yeah. She bluntly said, I don't want to lie to people. Those girls don't relate to me in any way. She said she loves them, treats them well, will host their birthdays if I want, but she won't call them family. I argued with her over this and I hung up on her since she didn't think she did anything wrong. Was I in the wrong? Did I overreact? So let's go ahead and get into it. Was she in the wrong? No, I don't think that she was in the wrong. Is she the asshole here? No, I don't think that she's the asshole for walking out. Ultimately, I don't understand why the mother-in-law even asked, because that was messy on her part, first and foremost. That was definitely messy. Why would you go out of your way to ask your daughter-in-law, your future daughter-in-law, excuse me, hey, like, I'm creating a photo album, can you get some pictures together, yada, yada, yada. If you knew you weren't going to include the whole family. That was messy. If anything, she was better off just ignoring them the way that she has been ignoring them. I'm not saying that was right, but I'm just saying, if anything, that she would have been better off doing that. Because ultimately, all that she did was get her hopes up, and then her daughter's hopes up. And then on top of that, why, again, this is the question that's going on in my head, why would you have everyone gather around to look at this photo album when you know that your daughter-in-law, your future daughter-in-law is going to be there and her kids are going to be there? That was messy. That was extremely messy. So no, I don't blame her for walking out. Now let's go ahead and get into the fiance here. Because he said something that just did not sit right with me whatsoever. He said, it's just a stupid photo album, yada, yada, yada. Once we get married, I'm going to get them together. I'm going to get them in line. But it's happening right now. It's the situation at hand. It's happening right now. Your mother is doing this to me and my kids right now. Why do I have to wait until after you and I are married for you to get them together? It's happening right now. So, I don't know. I really, yeah, I don't know about that. I really don't have a lot of words to say about that. I know it just didn't. It's a vibe. That situation, that phrase, that just did not sit well with me. Why do I have to wait until after we get married for you to get everyone in line? Um, the only thing I can think of, and I'm not saying this is right. I'm just saying the only thing I can think of is the mother. The mother is saying the children aren't my family, so that's why I don't recognize them as family. They'll never be my family. And I guess once they tie the knot, then I guess she would be considered family, and maybe that's why it would be easier for him to get them in line. Again, I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that's just how I'm rationalizing why he said that. Yeah. Um, but ultimately, no, I don't think that she overreacted. I really don't have a lot of words in this situation. Ultimately, I can appreciate the mother-in-law's honesty, because at least she's not out here wondering like, oh man, like why is she acting like this? You know, whatever. The mother-in-law was honest. The girls aren't my family. They're never going to be my family. So the girl that's creating this post, she can either take it or leave it. If she stays with her fiance, then she's going to have to realize that the girls are never going to have a relationship with the mother-in-law. She has made that very cut and dry. So ultimately, the ball is in her court. Me personally, I'm just one of those people. I can appreciate someone telling me up front what it is and what it's not, because now I have, it's my game. So now I can choose whether or not I'm going to stay or go. So again, I would appreciate that. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. No, I don't think that she overreacted. It was time for her to leave. The mother-in-law calling her saying, you disrespected me. Girl, you disrespected me first. And I had to do what was best for my children. So, bye. That's how I see that.